I want to talk about what this device does well, and then I'm going to talk about some things that concern me. First and foremost, the Key 2's battery life is freaking fantastic. In a solid 2 weeks of using it as my secondary device, I was getting through my days, even extending into the second day without even worrying about recharging it. This tells me that with heavy use, you'll easily get through the day. Having a 3500 milliamp hour non-removable battery featuring quick charge 3.0 via USB Type-C, the Key 2 gives you the ability to charge up to 50% from about 5 or 10% in about 30 minutes. It's really fast. It doesn't have wireless charging, so that may annoy some of you. The most prominent and valuable feature of the Key 2 is, of course, the physical keyboard. As I've grown accustomed to on-screen keyboards, it took me a while to get used to it again, but when I did, I really enjoyed it because I became a ton more productive at typing long form on this device, especially when it comes to composing important emails, memos, or scripts like this one that require a certain level of accuracy. Much of the time, an important email would come through that required a well-constructed response on my iPhone X. I usually wait to get back to my desk or my workstation to respond to those. But with the Key 2, I never hesitated to respond directly from the device. Additionally, each one of the keys on the keyboard can have a custom mapped action, whether it be launching an app or modifying a system setting. You can even launch apps from inside other apps, but use this with a bit of discretion as it can become a really hectic situation for you if you map a lot of custom keys. The spacebar has a built-in fingerprint sensor that works, but I found it to be a bit spotty at times, and depending on the angle of my thumb, it would work and sometimes it wouldn't, and sometimes the screen would come on and sometimes it wasn't. But I think this is a software thing that BlackBerry could definitely improve with an update. The Key 2 has the hardware to allow you to multitask without any issue. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 660 octa-core chipset clocks in 4 cores at 2.2 gigahertz and the other 4 at 1.8 gigahertz. This thing is no slouch. You pair that with the Adreno 512 GPU and 6 gigabytes of RAM, it's packing quite a punch, to be honest. The Key 2 ships with either 64 or 128 gigabytes of internal storage, and about 48 gigabytes of that is usable storage on the 64 gigabyte variant, which I have here. You can also expand that via a micro SD card that up to 256 gigabytes. The display on this thing is much improved over the first iteration of the Key line by BlackBerry. The 4.5-inch 1620 by 1080 IPS LCD has 433 ppi, featuring a 3:2 aspect ratio. That is pretty respectable considering nearly a third of the device is taken up by the physical keyboard. There are a couple of drawbacks of this phone. The mono speaker and display leaves something to be desired in the media consumption arena. The downfiring mono speaker is extremely tinny and distorts quickly under intense user request. If you pump up the volume, it really just loses it. Here, take a listen. After that demo on video, take it for what it's worth because it's really not an accurate representation, but the speaker is extremely underpowered and a bit too low of quality when I think of a phone of this build quality. You can easily solve that, however, because you can use the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack that is included. As for the display, I found it uncomfortable trying to watch video in landscape mode, and I opted to disable the auto rotate almost as soon as I powered this device on. Consuming media on this device isn't its strong suit. Colors are good and the display is sharp, so don't mistake my distaste for watching videos on this device for a bad thing, because it's not at all. It's actually a really great display and it's perfect for getting things done. I'm a bit disappointed that this device doesn't feature any weatherproofing. I've just gotten really used to that. It's pretty much the standard in today's flagship devices, and this, like the Key 1, simply doesn't have it. Finally, The camera on the Key 2 leaves a lot to be desired. The dual 12 megapixel camera has two lenses, a 79-degree wide-angle f1.8 and a 50-degree telephoto f2.8. It shoots 4K at up to 30 frames per second. The rear cameras have phase detect autofocusing systems that are supposed to allow for fast focus, but they don't do so hot in some situations, especially low light. I found it difficult to shoot good photos on the first shot, and that makes for a bad user experience, especially when you consider that it has a dual lens system. I really hope BlackBerry pushes out an update quick before more consumers get their hands on this device. You would think the dual cameras on this thing would be a good, if not decent camera, considering the Key 1 had a pretty great camera at its release. I hope they resolve this and do so quickly because it's just really doesn't live up to what you would expect from a dual camera system on a smartphone. I'll leave a link in the description and a card here. If you're interested in seeing full resolution samples, hop on over there and take a look at telephoto and wide angle lens photos in their full resolution. If you're a BlackBerry fan, need a device that will last you all day, maybe even a second day, and give you the ability to write long form emails and reports while you're on the go, the BlackBerry Key 2 is definitely for you. Typing on the physical keyboard is a very pleasant experience, despite what you may think. And considering the footprint of this smartphone, it is done really, really well. BlackBerry and TCL have done it with the Key 2 when it comes to being productive. I recommend it to you if you meet those certain things. You can pre-order the BlackBerry Key 2 right now using the link in the description, which is my affiliate link. Feel free to do so if you're interested. It comes in at $649 USD at the time of this video. It's a great device, but I think there are some improvements that BlackBerry can make, probably the most prominent being the camera. BlackBerry, if you're listening or if you're watching this video, please push out an update to your camera because I think there is more potential to be realized with the actual hardware that you're providing in the Key 2. Before I close, I must disclose BlackBerry was kind enough to send the Key 2 out to me for testing and review. And without them, this video would not have been possible. And that about does it for me in this one. If you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. I'm Tomas, and I will catch you in the next one.